Hi everyone, welcome to Bello's Designs. My name is Catherine and today we're going to be creating this card that I am calling the Purple Mist. Let's talk about the supplies we'll need to get started. You'll need a piece of multivarious cardstock, and I have cut mine down to 4 by 6 inches. Our finished card will be 5 by 7. So I have a piece of heavy duty cardstock that I have trimmed down to 10 by 7 and folded in half at the 5-inch mark for my card base. We'll be using a few stamps from Lavinia. So I have Faba, which is LAB 913, and she's one of the witches from the new collection. I also will be using the Witching Hour, which is LAV 920. The Fairy Web, which is LAV 286, and Hill House, LAV 908. In addition to that, we'll need a few inks. I have the Elements inks in Sundance, Element ink in Lime Punch, Elements ink in Violet Chalk, and Dark Denim. And then just a couple of Versafine Clairs. So I'll be using the Nocturn, and I have inked that freshly. I find that that works best for the Lavinia stamps. And the Lilac Bloom in Versafine Clair. So I also have some stickles. I'll be using both the crystal and the lavender stickles on my card today. And then finally, we'll just need a few other items. I have my purple Posca pen that I'll be using, as well as a variety of blending brushes. And I have my St. Petunia glue press, as well as my MISTI stamp positioner to go with that. So let me pull this all together and we'll be back to get started. I'm going to start my card today with my background, and when I do that, I do like to start with my lighter colors of inks first. So I'll begin with the Sundance yellow, and I'm going to go just right across the middle of my card and at somewhat of an angle going up to the right. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll move on to the green. And I'm using the Lime Punch as my Halloween green. And I'm just going to come back in on top of the yellow at the top and bottom, and again just staying at a little bit of an angle. All right, now I'm pretty happy with how that's turning out. So I'm going to move on to the violet chalk, and we'll just get around the corners and just up the right side a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Let's go ahead and bring in the MISTI and our black Versafine Clair. Now I'm going to put my card right into the bottom right corner, and I've already put my stamp onto my platform in the position that I want it. So I'll just stick that down with the magnets. And this morning, before I started my day, I did re-ink my Versafine Clair Nocturn ink pad. I find that I use it a lot, and you can buy the re-inker on Bello's website. And because I use it so much, I find that it really works best if I re-ink it about once a month. And I think that it's just because when I'm stamping, sometimes I'm leaving that top open, but also when I'm working with one of my stamps, such as the witches or the fairies that have a lot of black space to cover, I really prefer to stamp it once and maybe twice at the most. So if you keep your ink pad really well inked, you probably can just do it once and get a really nice stamped image on that. So I'm going to make sure that I ink it up really well. And that looks like a pretty even coverage. And I'll just give her a nice press down and give that ink just a minute to soak into the paper. And don't forget that Versafine Clair is an oil-based ink that's slow drying. So you also, if you're going to start working right away with that image that's stamped onto your project, you're going to want to blot it. And I'm pretty happy with the image that I got stamped on my first try. So I'm going to go ahead and just clean off my stamp and put her right away. And the next one that I want to do while my card is still on my MISTI is the Hill House, which I'm also going to stamp in black, and I just want it kind of off in the background. So on my original design, I had it really close to the bottom, but I think I'd like to put it just a little further up. See how that comes out. So we'll go ahead and close the MISTI to pick up that stamp, and then come back in with the Versafine Clair and Nocturn again. Get it nice and inked up. And then only have to stamp once. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that away. Clean off my stamp so I don't have any unhappy accidents. Just put it to the side because we're done with the Hill House. Okay. Now for the fairy web, I do think I'm going to just use my regular stamp block for that. I don't even know why I'm lining it up like that, because I am going to pick it up on my, let's just place it right on our stamp block, and then I'm going to bring back my stack of copy paper to make sure that I get a really nice image there. And we'll come back with the black, or the Nocturn Versafine Clair, and just ink up my fairy web and give that a nice press in the corner. And once again, just give it a moment to really soak into that paper. Now at this point, we're done with that black Versafine Clair. There we go, that's a pretty nice image. So if you do keep your Versafine Clair ink pads really well inked up, you're going to get a nice, easy, crisp image, whether you're using a traditional stamp block or a stamp platform such as the MISTI. All right, at this point, what I want to do is give it a little bit of splatter. So I'm going to come back with my fan brush and my jar of water. Get it open. There we go. We'll just give it a little splatter. Because I kind of like the spooky background effect that I get when you bleach out some of your ink. And I'm going to try to avoid the witch as much as I can. And there we go. I'm going to come in with some paper towel and just mop it up. See how that looks. Oh, I like that. And I got some fingerprints on there, but we'll take care of those. I think I'm going to add a little more splatter to this portion here, and then once again on the side next to the witch. So keep it off of the house if I can. And keep it off of the witch. Give it a minute. And then booch that up and lift that ink right off the paper. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks, but it's not ready for me to stamp. So I'm going to give it some time to dry, and I will be back to add the finishing touches. Okay, I went ahead and used my heat tool just to help speed this up a little bit. And I'm going to come back in with the Witching Hour, which is the verse that is part of the Dream Witch collection. And I'm going to use the Lavender Versafine Clair to ink that up, and we're just going to add a little bit of the verse down the side of the card. And I really do want it to show up, so I think today I'm going to use it in a first generation. Add that there. I'll do one more here. And one more time behind the house. There we are. All right, the last step is to come back in with the elements, and I'm going to be using the dark denim just to add a little bit of depth and darkness to the edges of my card, and hope that I can cover up those fingerprints that I bleached out. So I think I'm probably going to start in that space right there. Let's see how this goes. Yep, I think that's probably going to work out well. Just come up the side a little bit. And I really like how the dark denim adds just a little bit more. It darkens up that purple just a little bit. And I love the look of that, and I think it just makes it look a little more hazy. So I'm going to come over here and do this corner. And give her a little turn and go up the side. And then over the web. And just come back up to this other corner. And so there we are. I think I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out, and I'm not going to add any more layers of color. It's time to just add the finishing touches. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to come back in with my crystal stickles, and I'm going to outline just the longer pieces of my fairy web here. Just with a very thin line of glitter. And then I'm going to start with so I started with the largest one that's towards the center, and then I'm just going to come from the inside of the web and draw a quick line towards the outside just to keep that line of stickles on the fine side. I find that if you move it quickly across the page, you get a little bit of a finer line and it's not so splotchy. Here we go. So that's the web. All right, so now I'm going to come back with my purple Posca pen, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to the hat and the dress. I'll just make the edge of her hat a little purple, but it seems like I have a piece of fuzz or something on the end of my pen. There we go. And then I'm just going to paint in some of the detail on the bottom. Okay, and I've left the very bottom edge of her dress to add the stickles. I also am going to do a few fine lines of it coming down the lace on her sleeve. So we'll come back in with the lavender. Okay. And I am going to start top to bottom with that. So we'll start with the sleeve. And a little bit there. And then just down around the bottom of her dress. All right. Now that the stickles at the bottom of my witch's dress have dried, I decided I'm going to come back in with my crystal stickles and add some orbs to the bottom just to give it a little bit of extra glimmer, and I think that will look really nice. Okay, we'll give those some more time to dry and come back to assemble the final card. All right, we've had a little bit of time to dry, and it's time to put our final card together. Thank you for joining me today, and if you're not already a member of our Facebook groups, please consider joining Bello's Designs Lounge, where you can share your projects featuring Lavinia Stamps products or Bello's a la carte for all other stamp lines Bello sells. Have a great day.